What's up, citizen detectives, antler queens, and secret boyfriends? This is the Yellowjackets Buzz Podcast, and today, we are intimidated because we have Jessica Roberts herself, Rekha Sharma from Yellowjackets, as an interview. Rekha, welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
This is awesome. Your character is so intimidating on
Yes.
Yellowjackets.
Okay, is that the word that encapsulates her?
I think so. I mean, is it interesting on a show where you're working with so many complicated protagonists and anti-heroes to be almost seen as the antagonist and like the big bad of the present day?
It is interesting. It's something that I thought about right away. I was like, oh, if I am the one who's going toe to toe with these women, I've got a history that's, just shy dark of theirs.
Wow. I guess diving right in, would love to know a bit about the process of how you found out about Yellowjackets and how you got cast in the role.
Sure. The material came my way. I would guess in like January of last year, and came through LA casting and my reps down there, and I immediately was blown away by the script. I remember taping it with my girlfriend and being like, I mean, this project is amazing. I'd love to work on it. And I was like, come on, I'm perfect for this. I can do this. Just hire me already. And then, of course, heard nothing. Was like, oh, well, so much for that. And then in March, as the production was in Vancouver, then we got a submission again from Canadian casting. And I was up there already working and living there since the pandemic. And I was like, guys, I already read for this. So I just sent along my tape. And then, wheels were set in motion, and they were like, yeah, she was right. We should hire her.
In terms of the timeline then, were you cast for the original pilot, or was it once it went to series and then went back and reshot some material?
Yeah, it was the latter.
Very interesting. Yes, I remember in the original
Yeah.
pilot script, I believe Jessica Cruz was the character's name.
That's correct. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm very fascinated to learn just about the process from the original pilot to the series pickup and the series development of the show. I mean, it's was such
so
a
huge.
yeah, and I think that resulted in a stronger show, right? That they were able to
Yeah.
go and make these decisions and figure out how to layer in the story. So you are no stranger to working on television series with passionate fans. How do Yellowjackets fans compare to Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's early days. I'll get a greater sense of things as time moves on, and hopefully we'll be back to doing conventions at some point, and I'll get to meet people in person. I would say we have as intelligent of a crowd. I think people are really excited, and maybe we have a darker audience
Yes.
than I've ever had before for Battlestar and Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek, that audience is filled with sweethearts. But Battlestar was definitely edgy, but it was more political, and nobody was eating anybody. So
It's true. Discovery, though, in fairness, I feel like Discovery did have some darker episodes thus far.
it did.
Yeah,
It did. But it's still Star Trek.
that's true.
Right.
It's still like be your best self, and all of that stuff, which I love. But this is not that. This is messy and
I love
complicated
that you
and
use the
layered.
word messy. I use the word messy to describe so many
You do?
things about Yellowjackets. Yes. It's
It's
perfect.
it really is, and that's I think something that life tends to be missing here in North America, because it's a male dominated society, and we tend to
Exactly.
think in very very linear fashions, as a culture as a whole. And so I think the fact that we have a very strong female driven story with so many female characters just naturally allows for more of the messiness of life. Women we're wilder than men. We're supposed to be. And I'm
Agree.
not saying that as any of the, negative stereotypes about women being crazy or emotional or any of that stuff. It's not that. It's actually women have the capability to be highly emotional and extremely intelligent and articulate at the same time in a way that men, as cavemen, just weren't wired to do. They had to be able to shut off the emotion to go and get meat for the family, right? Like, we're different humans. So I'm really thrilled by how messy the show is. And I just shared a lot of opinions about how I think the world works. But
Well, we have very similar opinions when it comes to that, so I
great.
respect that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm in good company.
We were talking with Winter Mitchell Rohrbaugh the other night on last week's podcast, and she was commenting on how it's a lot of these do nothing men that are in the woods.
Yes.
And it's amazing how the women are just getting it done. And she made some
Yeah.
comment about the men that almost don't even know the process, so the women are stepping it up and taking charge.
Mm.
And I said, I feel the need to almost proactively apologize to my wife, and I'm not sure what for.
I love it.
But I like how the show portrays that dynamic, and it's interesting, yeah, because what you said about the stereotype, I don't look at Yellowjackets and have any sense of these women are crazy. I look at it as this is a
Yeah.
show about survival. This is a show about pain, about trauma,
100%.
and the way we process it. And it's very interesting to me to see the different way these are rational decisions through a lens of a complicated life. And I think that's what makes it so dynamic. And to that end, talk to me a little bit about Jessica Roberts' backstory. Did Bart and Ashley give you a full profile, or were you sort of left to work out your own headcanon on that?
Um, a little bit of both. We certainly didn't get into backstory. Also, I just have to say I love everything you said about trauma and processing, and I think I just tweeted something about that the other day. Like, that's what I think the show is truly about, and what happens when you don't deal with trauma, how that lingers and reverberates through your life. Um, anyway, back to your question. Uh, we had a very wonderful, exciting conversation before I even went to camera about Jessica Roberts and sort of what ballpark they wanted her to live in, what kind of human she was. And so from that wonderful conversation, I was able to sort of look at the story and what we do know about her and sort of piece together some sort of history that I could walk around with that felt good. And not that I work specifically in history. To me, that's the writer's job. But yeah, uh, it's sort of knowing like what maybe my triggers are, and what might be my thing, which you also discover as you go along, without
Yeah.
giving away any spoilers. I think Misty finds some of my triggers.
Oh, interesting.
Speaking
Yeah.
of that, I was very curious in regards to the research that you did to get into this character. Do you have to look up what makes a person kidnap worthy? Because Jessica Roberts apparently is very prone to getting kidnapped.
That's a great question. It was more in terms of like, what kind of human being decides to do this job? How does one find themselves in a position of working, outside of the law, being somebody's heavy? How far has she gone in this job? What situations has she been in? Yeah. That's the kind of research I did. I've sort of looked at, um, yeah, what may have happened in her life to bring her to do this for a career. Like, how do you develop those talents? Isn't
Yeah.
that a scary question? You
Exactly.
know?
No, yeah, I agree. I just want to commend you on the way that you delivered your performance as Jessica Roberts is absolutely incredible. I spoken in past episodes about how I just can't trust Jessica Roberts, and I want to. And there are some moments in there that I'm like, oh, I think she has good intentions, but then like my red flag just goes off, and I'm like, no, she doesn't have good intentions, and that just speaks to the level of how you deliver this character and how good it comes across on TV. That I can't read you. And in a show where you're just trying to read everyone, it drives me crazy and I love it at the
Ah,
same time.
well, thank you. I'm happy to drive you crazy. I don't know.
Well, and you project so much strength and confidence in the role. I really like the arc that here is a character that's a closer. Here's a character that's a fixer. You can
Mhm.
tell that she's very in control of her life. She's very in control of the situation. And just watching her go toe to toe with the with specifically Shauna and then Misty. I mean, do you feel like there has almost been an arc this season where in Misty, Jessica has met her match a little bit, and is being put in a position of vulnerability that she's not really accustomed to?
100%. I think I think I've been in tricky situations before, and I think this is beyond anything she's experienced. That was sort of my thing. Like, I didn't see it coming. I
Yeah.
misjudged her, just as she said that I did, in that first scene where we're at the restaurant. She tells me that I don't know what she's capable of, and
And
she's right.
and how far ahead were you on story when shooting? I mean, for instance, did you know that Jessica was working for Ty when you shot the first episode?
Um, did I? Actually, I think, yeah, I hadn't read the script yet, but Ashley and Bart and Jonathan did let me know that that was a situation, or even if they didn't let me know explicitly, they told me that something was going on. I can't quite remember how it went, but and then from that point forward, it was just, you know, a, a script ahead was usually what I knew what was going to happen. But I did know the basic gist of it. But we really didn't know how it was going to end. Even Ashley and Bart had not decided
Wow.
until they figured it out, like as they went along through the season. They didn't know. So
That's really cool though. I mean, and I think
yeah.
that level of unpredictability, does you find that helps inform your performance to not necessarily know your entire arc?
Yes and no. I think, on the one hand, knowing where it goes, as an actor, certainly in the way that we're all trained, it helps us make more choices the more that we know. That's how everybody's trained in theater. Certainly, when you do a movie, you know how it ends,
Yeah.
and so that I do feel like you have more choice, more more informed choices that you can make when you do know how it ends. But you have to accept the circumstances. So then it is fun to not know, in the way that your character does not know what's happening from one moment to the next. That can be fun too.
And how has it been working with the cast?
I mean, stellar cast. Like,
Yes.
the first time, I read the script and was auditioning, I didn't know who was going to be in it. I just knew it was going to be amazing based on what was on the page. And then when I found out who was in it, I was like, and then that was just the people whose work I knew, the adults. But
Right.
then meeting all the girls, which mostly, sadly, I met through Zoom at script readings, but you could see right away that everybody, and the guys are so talented, and a great group of, like, interesting, exciting people. I feel very lucky to have worked with everyone.
And you have, I think, almost the most scenes this season with adult Misty with
Mhm.
Christina. How was that process?
I mean, it was great. I really didn't expect it based on how the story starts. I thought I was going to be interacting with everybody in the adult timeline. I thought we were going to, and that was a bit of my head. Like I was definitely off camera, like all up in everybody's business. Um, but yeah, then to like find out that that's sort of where the main story arc was going to be, was between me and Christina, was thrilling. She's just fantastic, really fun to work with, super easygoing, and she was pregnant the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but she was like just a total pro, and I just felt protective of her. Honestly, I just wanted to make sure she was like getting enough rest and stuff, and people were leaving her alone, which it seemed people were really great.
That's cool. And I mean, was that a surprise though? Thinking, okay, I'm playing the private investigator. I'm investigating this. There's going to be action. We're going to be going to the woods. And no, actually, Rekha, you're going to be chained up in a basement for the back half of the season. Did that present any inherent challenges to your process, being so stationary?
Um, I mean, I don't know if it did to my process. I mean, the physical circumstance did only informed my process. It
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, like we're just gonna be doing this for a while. Well, I'm gonna get stinky. You know. uh, but I mean, physically, actually, the restraints, those are real handcuffs.
Wow.
And fun fact, when you struggle in real handcuffs, it hurts. Like you kind of can't fake that. Like I tried my best to fake it, but it was very hard to do.
I was looking forward to seeing Jessica Roberts in all of her incognito undercover outfits following the girls. Like I
Right?
was like, oh my God, Jessica's gonna be dressed like a ninja, black at some point, like, hidden somewhere trying to see what the Yellowjackets are up to. And no, you got to wear one outfit and be chained up in the basement. But I will tell you, in my
Yeah.
book, you were wearing all of the
Oh,
like
great.
private investigator outfits.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The wardrobe of Jessica Roberts appreciates that.
Well, listen, for rocking one outfit, you look fabulous every outfit. So every
Oh,
every
well,
show.
thank you.
So
Thank you. I mean, I wasn't supposed to look fabulous. I did, the look disintegrated. They were actually
yeah.
saying, they were like, she looks too good. She looks too good. I was like, dude, do you see what we're trying to do in hair and makeup to make me look bad? And we're like, got to make her look worse. Okay, here we go.
Fashionable but functional. I think it definitely works for the job. Okay, so of course, the famous quote of W.C. Fields: "Never work with children or animals." How was it working with Caligula the bird?
Caligula was a pro. Pearl, the African gray, I believe. I thought it was a cockatoo, but then a friend of mine reminded me that it was actually an African gray. The handlers were also very protective of Pearl. Pearl was a little overweight. So flying was a challenge. Am I allowed to say this? I don't know. This is a lot of behind the scenes information. I hope I haven't offended the owner of Pearl, but he said it. He said she's a little overweight, so I think we're okay.
I thought
Big
Pearl did
bones,
an
big
excellent
bones.
job at getting that
She
flying
was
scene there.
fantastic. The handlers were great. They were very protective of Pearl, so we didn't really interact with her a whole lot. Of course, Christina and I pet her a little bit, but yeah, she was impressive. You just have to make sure you get everything else right
Right.
to the best of your ability, because that bird's only got a few takes
Right.
Yeah.
before she's pooped.
Oh yeah.
And I thought they did a fantastic job of training her and being patient with her, and we just tried to stay out of her way. And then of course when I was holding it, it was a stuffed, I actually have some pictures. I'll post them
Oh,
of
cool.
the
Yes,
yeah,
please.
yeah, I
I
will.
actually love that scene, and the reason why is because I felt you were so resourceful. You are tied to a bed. What can you do to try to get Misty back, to try to get out of this situation? And me, somebody who's obsessed with my dog as a pet lover, I think if I would have walked in and Jessica Roberts is holding my dog, I'm setting you free. Okay. So I was like, that is pretty genius of her to go there. And you could tell that you triggered Misty with that move. So I thought I
Yeah.
love that scene. It just goes to show you how smart Jessica Roberts is as a character, where she's like, how can I try to bargain with this woman? And this is what I have tied to this bed. Here's the bird. Let me try this. When you were holding that bird, though, I audibly gasped. I was like, do not kill the bird.
I think that was everybody's feeling, including mine. I was like, I have to do what? Oh, but yeah, and that's a testament to Ashley and Bart and their writing. I mean, they came up with that, and it was just genius, genius. And that was probably, one of the most exciting days on set with Christina. Such a high stakes scene, with her screaming and me crying and getting things thrown at me and all of that. It was really intense, and we both, I think, managed to have a lot of fun with it.
It's awesome. Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite character from each time period?
Oh gosh, I haven't even thought about that. Um, I mean, I love both versions of all of the characters. Um, and that's sort of in terms of like all of the actors and their performances, I just love. But I
Yeah,
guess in terms of like a personal favorite, like as a viewer,
yeah,
Shauna.
yeah. That's awesome. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no wrong answer to that question, and it's been interesting. Have you taken the BuzzFeed quiz yet? The Which Yellowjackets character are you?
No. Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, it's been very interesting seeing the cast.
That's what people have been posting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, "Where is this coming
I'll
from?"
send you the
Like,
link. I'll send you the
"Oh,
link. You have
yay."
to take it.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I wanna take it for sure. Thank you.
absolutely. So here's my question. We've heard so much fantasy casting for the 1996 characters that we haven't seen in present day. If we were
Oh,
to meet in flashback Jessica Roberts in 1996, is there an actor you would like to see cast as your counterpart?
oh my gosh. I don't even know. Who would that be? Like, there's so few Indian people in the business. I'm like, who is the teenage version of me? I love that question.
It's a good question. Hmm.
Yeah,
We
I
can
wanna
follow up.
find out.
Yeah, we will
Yeah,
follow up
yeah.
on Twitter with that because
Okay,
I think
okay.
I would love to learn more about Jessica Roberts' backstory, and I think it would be very interesting to see if there were parallels or even awareness of Jessica Roberts, her awareness of the Yellow Jackets' disappearance in '96. I would think would be very
Well,
interesting.
I definitely thought about that. I thought about, okay, like this is a world where everybody knows about this.
Yeah,
And I think I thought I was probably, like, had the parents that were like, don't go out late. You saw what happened to those girls, like that was probably the atmosphere that we were all raised in.
yeah.
Yes.
See what happened to those girls? It could happen to you. Like, no, you're not flying anywhere. Like,
Right.
something
You're
like
never getting
that.
on a plane.
You are not
Yeah.
playing soccer. We know where this leads.
Ever. Ever. Yeah. No nationals for you, kiddo.
But that was so the 80s and 90s, right? It's like something would happen and everyone would view it through their lens as an imminent danger to themselves. Which isn't to say that terrible things don't happen, but it is kind of remarkable the ripple effect that has in the culture.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And I mean, it's questionable whether or not my parenting was any good. So maybe they didn't tell me to stay home. I don't know.
I want
But
to
I
see that.
definitely thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
season 2, we need some Jessica Roberts backstory. Do you feel a connection with 96? I think, something that people have been talking about a lot is just how great the music is in the series. I'm just
Mm.
curious, like, what were you listening to and what pop culture were you really hardcore into in 1996?
Oh, I mean, I like a lot of the music on the show. I definitely listened to more like alternative music and stuff that was kind of on the outer fringes of what most people would listen to.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, I like a lot of
And
it.
did you
Yeah.
play any sports as a teenager?
No sports.
No sports, no soccer, so
Mm.
definitely no nationals for you.
No, no. Yeah, I was like, I was the person who like avoided physical education at all costs. Was like, I'll be in the art wing painting and doing theater and see you
Right.
guys later. Yeah. Thankfully I discovered yoga as an adult and now I do physical things.
So without spoiling anything or giving anything away, is there anything you can tease for what's in store for Jessica in the season finale?
Nope.
Oh, come on. We had to try. We had to
I
try,
You
you
had
know?
to try. I don't know what I could even say.
No, that's good. That's good though, because I think expecting the unexpected already, this show has been so satisfying in seeing that we get up in our heads and fantasy booking this and our theories, and then the show manages to swerve us with something that we didn't see coming. And that's just actually been really rewarding, I think, as a viewer.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear you say that because I certainly felt that way. I think we all felt that way reading it and working on it. So it's so great. I feel so lucky that it's being received so well and people are really loving it as much as we did.
Have you been keeping up with all the fan theories, like the Reddit theories and all of the,
No.
like, what the fans are coming up with and the
Oh,
ideas? Because
Dish, tell me.
it's so well, for example, everybody thought that Adam was Javi.
Oh,
Yes, and that was a very popular theory going around that Adam is grown up Javi.
Yeah, there was that. I think
that would
what
be crazy though. Like for Shauna not to recognize him.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what a lot of us said
we were
too.
admittedly, we were all doing a little mental gymnastics as fans to try and
Right.
figure out a way that could be possible. I mean, I think that there might be more details to come with Adam, but just based on some of the clues they gave us. But this is like a freeze frame show, so that's if you've been avoiding Reddit and Twitter. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like my camera roll on my phone is all pictures of my cats and Yellowjackets freeze frames, like looking at little details. I mean, it's crazy. And Bart Ashley worked on a show based on an alternate reality game before this. So I feel like they're really layering a lot of detail in for fans to just devour.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that it was an alternate reality thing.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that there's a lot of layers with it. But yeah, the fan theories, I don't know. I mean, who was the Antler Queen? I think was the probably the biggest one. And I feel like Courtney Eaton did confirm that after the last episode that indeed that was what the takeaway should be. So that was really cool. But I feel like there's still a lot left. I mean, we don't know who emptied Travis's bank account. We don't know who's sending the postcards. I think
Mm.
there's still a lot of season one business to wrap up in the finale. And then I think in season two, we're gonna, hopefully get new mysteries and more developments and wrinkles.
I think I think you're gonna see long-term mysteries. Like I think you're still gonna be asking some of the questions you were in the pilot.
Nice.
Wow,
I'll say
love
that.
that.
I
Very
think.
nice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what questions you were asking, but I know what I was asking, and I'm still
I would love to
asking.
know what questions do you have? Like what questions were you asking? I want to know.
That's giving away too much.
Okay.
I don't
I
want to
love
ruin anything for you.
I love, and this is just so masterful on the part of the creators. I love the language that's been used about the others, the others, the others. And I feel
Mm,
like season 2, 3, 4, 5, we could get new adult versions of the 96 characters at any time. It's not a
yeah.
closed list. And I think that is just such a masterful way to leave possibilities open for the series.
Agreed. Agreed.
So what's been your high point so far of Yellowjackets? Of all
What's been my
this?
high point?
Yeah.
Um, I think working with Deepa Mehta was a really big high point. I mean, working with Christina is also a major high point, but we just did, I just did one day with Deepa. And as an Indian woman, growing up, watching her work and, I never dreamed, I always wanted to work with her, but I never dreamed that it would actually happen. And so it was amazing. And it was shocking how profound it felt. And I realized it was not only because of who she is and what that means to me, but like I've never actually worked with an Indian female elder in a position where she could support and empower and direct me. Um, and there's something about that, like that was deeply profound. And I'm very excited that things are changing both on and off camera, um, in terms of more people of color and Black people being able to work in this industry. It occurred to me at the end of that day, I was like, whoa, like every white dude I've ever known has had this experience that I just had today. And
Right.
that's just been their baseline. And
Right.
so, of course, the white man is going to feel like he can do whatever he wants. He's going to feel, he's been empowered his whole life. Um, and of course, that's a gross generalization. There's a lot of variety in that, but it's exciting to me to think that we're finally at the place where we're starting to recognize the importance of having people of all kinds in all places of power and position and influence, because that has a trickle effect. And I can only imagine what it'll be like for an Indian actress working in generations to come. She'll never have to cross some of the paths, the she'll never have to overcome some of the obstacles that I have, and the people before me. I am so grateful to all of them, like Deepa. I mean, where did she get the gumption? I don't know, but man, nobody was doing what she's doing. She's like, no, I'm going to be an Indian woman in Canada, working at the height of film, and she's done it.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Representation is so important. As a
so
Latino
important.
Spanish woman myself, I always look for that. I want to see somebody that looks like me. I want to see more people of color on the screen. So I absolutely love that that was the high point for you, and I can only imagine what that felt like for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. I mean, I love just the show brings so many different elements to the table.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's part of the reason why I think it's resonating with so many people. It's different. This cast looks very different than most of
Mhm.
what we see on TV. I think the stories that they're telling are from different perspectives. And yeah, I've just really been enjoying it. I mean, I can't say enough great things about it. Um,
I'm so glad. It's so cool. It's like, we've all seen so many movies and TV shows that are just like predominantly men.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, it's actually happening. We have a predominantly female cast of all colors and shapes and sizes. And it's great. It's such a
It
great
is.
show.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the best part is that it's like so good. It's a good viewing experience for everybody. It's very female led, but I can suggest this show to anybody, guys, girls, older people, younger generation, and
Exactly.
everybody enjoys it, which is what I love. You find something you relate to, whether it's with the 1996 characters,
Hmm.
whether it's with the present day characters. So you could be somebody in my age group where you were a teenage in 96 and now you're in their age group and relate to everything that you're seeing on television. And I'm suggesting it to some of my male friends, and they're absolutely loving the show without feeling like, oh, this is a show for chicks, like like a lot of people will
Exactly.
say. I'm not
Yeah.
getting that when I suggest
It's
people to watch this
not.
show.
Yeah, it's not a chick flick, whatever
Right.
the TV equivalent of that is. It's not. It's
Not at all.
just a good show.
Hmm.
Well, and especially in the 1996 storylines, I feel like when we do nostalgia these days, it's so
Mm.
much needle drops and fashion, and the characters could be from almost any era. And I think that what's very interesting, especially how Natalie's been educating Travis. We
Mhm.
are
God, yes.
seeing that awakening and taking control of female sexuality and female empowerment that
100%.
like teenage girls in the 90s were on the front lines of that generation, and I just love seeing that. And I look at Travis, and I feel that it's like, for me, it's like cringy accurate of all the male insecurity. um like
I love it.
I want to call some ex-girlfriends and apologize, you know, like just about like shitty toxic attitude. Yeah, I mean,
But that's what it was then,
yeah,
right? Like there's no judgment. It's just like, okay, thank God we're not there
yeah.
now. But like as you say, there is so much specificity to that 96 storyline that that makes it not a head what is it like
Tip of
it's
the
not an
cap.
idea,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's like, even we were talking about this with my boyfriend the other day about the drugs, the
Yeah.
drugs of an era, right? Like
Right.
kids are doing different drugs these days, like, and the fact that they were doing like LSD and mushrooms and stuff in the 90s, that like, and it's in the story, and that
Yes.
colors part of the psychology of the people, and drinking lots and, weed. But like now there's different drugs, and
Yeah.
that has a different psychology
Yeah.
to the culture. It's really fascinating. So yeah, the music, the clothes, the gender attitudes, all that stuff. It's like it's so great to see it so clearly portrayed, so honestly
Yes.
portrayed, cringingly honestly
Yeah.
portrayed, as you said. Like, I love
Yes.
that.
And when it comes to the 1996 storyline, I also love seeing the two sides of, for example, Coach Ben being afraid to come out and say that he's gay, where you're seeing Ben and Thaisa openly come out in front of their friends to such a beautiful scene. One of my favorite scenes in the whole show is when they kiss and everybody's, supportive of their love, because you forget. I'm
Agreed.
so happy that we live in a different era now, but you forget that that was frowned upon back in 1996. Times have changed
Yeah.
so much, and this show just portrays it so accurately.
Yeah, I think that same week, um I was out here and I'm shooting a show in Santa Fe, and I was just walking around and I saw these two girls. They must have been like 12, maybe 14 years old. They were so cute, and they were just like hugging and cuddling and like looking into each other's eyes and stroking each other's faces, just like right there on the street. And I was like, that would not have happened in
Oh, yeah.
1996. Like,
Nope.
it was so beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah.
So well
Yeah.
done. So talk
Yeah.
to me a little bit. What other projects are you working on? What else do you have coming out?
So right now I'm working on Roswell, New Mexico, the
Nice.
fourth season, and beautiful out here in Santa Fe, and great team of people to work with out here. And I have another show coming out on Netflix, I believe, this spring. They haven't got a release date yet, but it's a show called The Imperfects,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm really excited about it. You've heard about it?
I was reading about it last night in
You
doing
were. What
prep.
did you
Yeah.
read? What did they say?
Well, I was looking at the cast, so let me make sure I have this absolutely correct. So it's got like a superpower element, right? It's a little sci-fi.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it sounds very
And you'll be
interesting.
playing Dominic in this show, correct? That's your character's name there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Dominique.
that's what it.
Yeah.
I saw it on your IMDb.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
mean,
really excited. Those scripts were so fun. Um, and the creator, Dennis, he's just got a really cool vision for this show. And I have a feeling it's going to come out wonderfully. We'll see, but I think I think a lot of people are gonna love it. I think it's really,
awesome.
really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the result of gene therapy, so it's a little bit superpower as a result of experimentation. No, I love that. That's definitely right up my alley for a good
Yeah,
binge
it's
watch.
we'll see, but it feels like kind of horror comedy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think I describe Yellowjackets to people as a dark comedy. I mean, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
see the show. Speaking of which, so you've
Cool.
spent so much time going toe to toe with Christina Ricci as Misty in this. What do you think? Because some people thought this assessment was a little crazy. I think of the adult characters, Misty is the healthiest in the sense that she knows who she is and accepts that, where it seems
Mm.
like Ty, Shauna, and Nat are all very conflicted about where they are in their journey and who they've become.
Yeah, I don't know if that is I agree with your assessment in terms of her knowing who she is. I don't agree that it's necessarily healthy.
Not in this.
That's where I beg to differ.
I love that he chose the word healthy. I'm like, healthy? That's what we're going to go with
I
then?
mean, she gets through the day and feels good about her life. Yes, I'm not saying let's elect her president of the school board. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think, she necessarily should be given responsibility over other people. But I think that she wakes up, she goes to sleep, and she feels like, you know what? I know who I am.
Yeah, I think she definitely knows who she is. In a sense, I would take that back to young Misty. Like I think she figured out kind of some strengths, like kind of what was her jam
Yeah.
out of necessity. Um, but yeah, she didn't even when she's young, she doesn't really seem to like be lost or whatever about who she is or what she's doing.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my current thought about it in the moment. Don't hold me to that. But I think you're right. There is less of but I think I guess I think the opposite. I think the fact that they're conflicted and
Yeah.
unsure is actually a greater sign of health
Hmm.
in a
No.
way because at least they're like, yeah, I don't think this doesn't make sense. This doesn't line up, right? Like they seem, I don't know. They're all messed. Everybody needs therapy so badly.
Yes, they
So
do.
badly.
Yes, they do. And I think once we learn more about what they got into in the woods and what really happened out there, which is ultimately what Jessica Roberts is trying to accomplish, she just wants to know what really happened out there. I think once we learn that, it will make more sense to us why they are the way they are or act the way that they act.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can make some safe assumptions about that.
Right?
But yeah, but more will be revealed.
Awesome. Well,
The intricacies of the trauma will be revealed. I mean, I don't know any more than you guys know, and I think in some ways maybe Ashley and Bart don't even know. I think they know some of the broad strokes, but but I think that, like all those details sort of take shape as things go along, right?
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Rekha, thank you so much for your time today. Very excited about the finale coming up.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you for being so generous with your time and talking
Thank
with
you.
us and interacting with the community.
My pleasure. Please send me all those like whatever Yellow
I'm
Jackets
going. I'm
links you
going to
can.
tweet you the quiz right when we get off the
Yes.
air, so you can.
Okay,
But I
awesome.
want to know the. I need to know the result. I need to know who you get.
Okay, I'll post my results as soon as I do the
Okay.
test.
Awesome, Rekha.
So fun talking to you guys.